Hello, world. My name is Ross. I'm in Los Angeles. This is the
Hi.
International Art Alliance, all of us here right now, and we're creating the Palimpsest project. This is one of those terrific situations. We send each other actual artwork through the mail, and then it arrives, and then Laura gets it and she says, "Oh my!" And then she does something to it and she sends it to Denise, and Denise does something to it and she opens it up and does something to it, and she sends it to Stephanie, and Stephanie does something to it, and then she sends it to
Cheryl.
Rose, and then she sends it to Cheryl. And so Rose and Cheryl, Rose has got an art mart, you said, today. How exciting for her. And Cheryl's down under, I mean, under the weather today. So
Under the weather and down under.
under the weather down under. So we'll miss both of them today, but we'll see them real soon. Okay, so today we have a really interesting topic, and the three of you are polyglot, meaning you speak more than one language. And many artists are kind of like that. They speak more than one kind of art. You know, a lot of actors also paint or write. And I know Laura, you're a professional writer in addition to being a professional artist. And Stephanie, you're a graphic designer as well as a musician and singer, although I guess we're not supposed to talk about that anymore. I'm not quite sure what your rules are for that right now, but I have heard you make some notes out of your body in extraordinary. And then Denise, I don't even know. What do you have other types of art forms that you play in?
Well, I have played. I was trained as an illustrator, so that means that my education was really broad in sense of all the different techniques that we were taught. So I dabbled in printmaking, like etching and lino printing and all kinds of different printmaking. I've done like computer work on the computer, which was in its really early stages when I was in art school. So everybody was really excited about that, especially being illustrators. That was really exciting. I did photography in school. I did lots of oil painting, watercolors, like every technique that you could imagine. I have tried my hands at, like a sculpture, like 3D type of things, metalworking, woodworking. I have done like I've
Wow,
done it
that's
all.
really exciting.
Quite
So
extensive.
and I also write. That's my other gig. How have these other art forms or techniques informed our current practice or what we're envisioning for our ongoing practice, like the process of our practice?
Well, for me personally, I tend to. It was funny because when I finished art school, or at the end of art school, I was very much into oil paints. I loved painting with oil paints, but being an illustrator is and oil paints doesn't really go together very well because
Yeah.
illustration needs to be fast and oil paints are tediously slow.
So
So I sort of switched to acrylics, but I still like the layering that oil paints and the sort of the translucent quality that you can do with oil paints, where you can sort of do very thin layers. So I use in my acrylics a lot of glazing medium, so I can use glazes. And funnily enough, I don't use open acrylics, which are supposed to resemble oils in a way.
what kind of
Um,
acrylics did you say?
Open acrylics,
The
which tend to
brand?
dry slower.
Open?
Open
OPE?
acrylics is what they're called. Yeah.
What is it?
Uh,
A
Now,
brand?
is that
A brand?
yeah, is that just a golden thing? Open like golden open, or is it
Maybe.
other paint companies that do it too?
I'm not sure. I know that Golden has the open acrylics. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other brands that have have acrylic paints that resemble oils. But I don't know. For some reason, I've gotten so into the acrylics and I've gotten so used to them that I've never really gotten into the open acrylics. I also get frustrated now when my paints don't dry fast enough.
I know.
Because I really like the layering and I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's what frustrates me about oil paints. I'm just like, ugh, it takes so long to
I
dry.
know. Well, I used to love that though, so I don't know what
I
happened.
know. It just
But
depends
I
on
think
the
also the fact that I love mixed media is sort of stems from the fact that I've dabbled in so many different things, and I just
Mm.
maybe everything except for watercolors, because me and watercolors are not good friends. But other than that, like all the other things I really love to do.
Nice.
You say you and watercolor aren't good friends. That sounds so mysterious. Like, what could possibly be the thing about watercolors that says,
Watercolors are really tricky, I find. I tend to end up with just a brown blob. It's really hard for me to to manipulate the paints in a way where it makes sense somehow. I am a person who has a hard time giving up control, so I think that probably has something to do with it, because
hmm,
watercolors are notorious for being very
independent?
temperamental.
Yeah, they kind of do their own thing and follow gravity in a different kind of way. And
It's what I love of watercolor, that you don't
Yeah.
know
So
that
pretty.
coming out. Yeah.
They are very
Uh,
pretty. And
it's
I'm sort of dabbling in more of the like watery things now with my venture into abstract. I want to sort of play with that a little bit more. I think this
yeah.
whole abstract thing is a lesson in or at least an exercise in giving up control for me.
oh, how cool is that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true because it gives you freedom. You're not scared to do it wrong because whatever you do, it can make sense and you can redo it. So
Yeah, well, the not being scared part, I'm not there yet, but
You're tested to not do it wrong.
yeah.
Or you're
yeah,
tested when you
you
put
have
the
to
paint
play.
down. Laura, when you started, have you always written? Have you always been a writer?
I've written, yeah, I love to write, but I've just written little poems before, or just I don't know how to say screenplay for the theater. Yeah, but because I've done also directing school for theater and movie for 2 years, and I started also with as the school as an illustrator. So I was agree with the because I remember that they taught I was learning technique that you have to use in the very fast, and I learned to use oil on my own, just trying and it's something that I love for now. And talking about the subject of today, I was thinking that something that I want to do now is to try mixed technique. So because from until now, I've always paint all or watercolor, acrylic, oil, how we say, graphite, but quite never mix them. And now I'm more fascinated by the thing to compose with different technique and make something new. Also, my cousin also paint, and she showed me something that she has done this summer using the eggshell and putting the eggshell in some part of the painting and then color them and use the the what you use to clean to clean the shoes to yeah
A
like
brush?
a very dense yeah and it gives us some so amazing effect that so I'm trying to use this different stuff. I've also tried to use the like tea, coffee, vegetables in the past. I don't know now because you can use this kind for like watercolor. So
Yeah.
mix watercolor with some organic. I don't know if it's the correct term, say the organic color, but.
Mhm.
But now I want to yeah, I'm experimenting. So let's see. We will see. Something
So how is experimenting with these different kinds of media and mixing them together? How are you finding, or what are you finding that's different in your exploration?
I'm not because I want to continue with the portrait and using the face, but like the environment of the painting. So I will focus on the eye and the figure by painting, but I want to add something different, some more material. I don't know, with more like something that you want to touch
More
and to
texture.
More
yeah,
texture. Yeah.
texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I so know this what you do. I'm like, that's exactly what I like, what I want.
Yeah, exactly. A few years ago, I was trying something abstract, but that can give you the sense of a woods, many trees. And I remember that my goal was to try to find a way to make the people who were seeing the painting like almost feel now yes, smell something,
Mm.
feel
Mm.
to be. I didn't do it. I wasn't able to do it, but it was something, being able to make the people enter in your painting. It's something that I do.
Ah, nice.
Mm.
Yeah, smell is notoriously the most difficult sense to capture
Yeah.
other than smell, right? Like you can
Smell other
kind
than
of,
smell. Okay.
yeah, well, you can kind of approach color and
True.
music and color and rhythms and other things, but to write about smell, to describe it,
Yeah.
you're in a,
Also because it's a personal, so yeah, everyone can perceive in a different way. So
what an exciting and noble um, endeavor. So can we see any of these paintings sometime, or are they just like strictly off limits and you're not showing them
my painting,
yeah,
you
these
mean
ones you're
the
talking
new?
about?
No, yeah, no, now no.
No.
Now,
As soon as possible, you will see something. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Thank
In
you.
this moment, I'm in the phase of sketching and try, and also few times I'm working. I don't know if you use to do it. This is a question for my question for you. But do you need time to um, think and to create with closed eyes, to create your painting and see which color to use, what before to start to paint?
sometimes for me,
Yeah,
Hmm.
sometimes.
it depends. It depends. Sometimes I just, for me, sometimes because I, like you, I paint portraits mainly. And sometimes I choose a palette and I generally try to stay away from actual skin tones.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to kind of surprise myself, but I do have an idea. Once I have my paints mixed, I'm like, okay, yeah, that'll be the lightest. Like that'll be for maybe the kind of the skin tone will be this, mainly this color with, splotches of other colors kind of thing for the highlights and the lowlights and shadows and so on. But part of me likes to surprise myself too.
Hmm.
Okay,
So it's
so
a
you try
spontaneous.
painting. You discover by painting while you're
Yeah.
painting. So you try a color. Yeah. Okay.
But sometimes I premeditate, sometimes it's premeditated as well. It just kind of depends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's something that I'm doing ultimately in this period.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need. It's like a meditation, and it's strange because in my mind, with the eyes closed, I see the image and I change. It's like to have a Photoshop in
Yeah.
your head, and you change the things. Now this is red. It is. I'm using that, and yeah, because what I'm planning to do now, it's a little ambitious. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, but let's see.
Cool.
Sounds exciting.
So exciting.
Yeah,
And
I'm excited about it in this moment, but
I feel it. And I love this sense of exploring and just kind of reaching, and this
yes, this is
adventuring
exciting.
spirit that,
Is
yeah.
the the exciting part, because when you finish the painting, you have something that you've created, but it's the discovering. It's like waiting for when you're pregnant and you're waiting and you imagine something. It would be a boy, girl, blonde, brown.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So,
great. Your baby.
Yeah, and then the baby's born, and after a few years, you're like, "Oh, this is not what I was. This is,
This is not what I'm
this
aiming
is
for.
not
Yeah.
it."
What did I get myself into? All this work. Jeez.
it's your
Yeah.
baby when it's finished and you feel that it's your baby, but sometimes
Stephanie, when you're changing your colors, or I don't know, something about what you just said, I thought, I wonder if there's a similarity to like jazz singing, where you take the standard song, you take the song as written, and then you do these other things to it. Is there
Gosh,
any?
you're giving me goosebumps, man. That's a really good analogy. No, that's a really good analogy.
So how does it work in your world, and in how you do things, or if at all, if it's only
How does your brain work?
how does
Really?
your
How's my
brain
brain
work?
work? Oh my gosh, I don't even know. It's like it doesn't half the time. Um, so it's okay. So lots to sort of unpack, as they say there, from what you just said, because I never thought of, well, no, I did think of music influencing the way I paint, but not in the way that you just mentioned it. So where jazz, you have a regular sort of, an old standard show tune, for example, and jazz musicians will replace not all the chords, but many of the sort of in between chords to make the song and to make the instrumental version or the sung version, the music part of it, to make it, or the instrumental part of it, to make it more colorful. And so, yeah,
Oh, is that one
no,
of the
really,
words
to
that's
make it more
actually used for
interesting.
that?
Pardon me?
Is that a word that's used to describe those components in the
Well, I
music?
don't know. I just use, but because it makes
I
me
never
think of that.
Totally, I never thought of it that way before. That's
No, but now
completely
that you
amazing.
mentioned it, it totally made me think of it that way. And then, so I guess the reverse is true as well, whereby, if you're, well, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but if I'm painting a portrait, for example, and I'm not painting in skin tones because I want it to be more colorful. Oh, that was me. Sorry, I just heard my own echo. I was like, what happened? Anyway, I want it to be more colorful. I want it to be just more interesting. Then I won't use skin tones. I'll use sort of but the palette will still deliver a portrait, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I guess, like jazz, the where the main chords remain, the outline and the actual subject matter remains. But the colors that I use for skin tones and all of that stuff that are not part of the actual subject matter's face, those are what make it more musical, if you will. I don't know. It's a
Oh,
stretch,
wow.
maybe.
I love it. I love it.
But in terms of art form, I've also I wasn't trained as an illustrator, but I do have a degree in digital photography. Not a degree. What am I saying? Sorry, I did a certificate degree. I did a certificate in digital photography, and typography. Well, typography was part of the graphic design course that I did, but all of that really does influence, I find, just the way I think about my painting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It really does. So, for example, shadows and light, right? That's so much of that is like that's all photography to me, is like shadows and light. Same thing for sketching and drawing, right? And then after that, same thing for painting, because the painting has to you have to be able to see the shadows and light in the painting for the form to make any sense. Yeah, it's my story and I'm sticking to it.
How about you, Ross?
Yes,
What
how
have you
about you?
dabbled in?
Wait a second. I just gotta absorb what Stephanie just said because it in so much of whatever, I don't know nothing about music, but about artwork, that I can really see that applying. Like I don't know, there's something very template like about it. I'm
Huh.
not quite sure what that is either, but it's like the how you can replace something. You can replace the parts that are
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. How you can replace the parts that aren't integral or integral. How do you say that word? Integral? Anyway, that aren't integral to
To the thing.
the thing. Yeah,
Yes.
to whatever you are painting, right?
Yeah, your
So those
subject.
parts you can replace and make your own
Yeah.
without actually changing the way the person looks, for example.
So you're sort of inserting your own personality into it.
Yeah. And
Oh,
this is the way that I was
yeah.
taught to paint portraits, by the way. This is not something that I made up by any means, but I think I was really attracted to it because of all the different colors and you know, the fact that you can make it your own.
Something very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started also
Yeah.
as an illustrator, and graphic designer, and haven't painted really at all. So now I'm painting like for the first time. I mean, I painted like 3 pictures. and like Denise, what you were saying about acrylic and illustration, it's like, yeah, you got to go fast. You've got a day and a half, maybe if you're lucky, to turn this picture around. And acrylic dries really, really fast. So there's, there are certain benefits to that, and then certain drawbacks. And now I'm using a completely different palette of acrylic than I've ever used before on stretch canvas and also canvas board. Canvas board, it's like really the cheapest, weirdest kind of material. Like I could see Denise is like, yuck. Why would you want to use that?
No. I've used it before. I've used it.
But it just it lets. I mean, I got like so many for so little that it just lets me work it out and work it out and work it out.
Yeah.
So in that vein, so since I also write, I have a way to write. I start in the middle, like just plop something down, and then I work both ends, and then I usually take something from like the 5th paragraph or whatever. And, oh, here's the
Shoved
real
to the
beginning.
front. Yeah.
To the front, right? And by the way, I use a really great program called Workflowy. If you ever need anything like that, check it out.
Oh, cool.
Really good.
For writing? For writing?
For writing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Cool.
organizing. It's like a infinite nesting word processor. It's a
Right.
web-enabled thing.
Oh, very
But
cool.
I paint kind of the same way. Like I kind of start in the middle, and then it's like, even if I have my concept, even if I have my palette worked out, but I'm starting in the middle somewhere, and then kind of shifting it around and seeing what's going to work, and then I have to try and edit, and then that's the hard part. Like when I'm editing with words, it's like, well, I just have a sense of how to do that, but when I'm editing with a picture, it's, I don't know. Is it because painting is hard? It's like drawing. Not that writing is easy. It's not. But it's a different. It's different. If your painting doesn't have a certain logic to it, it might just fall. Or so there are different kind of structures, I guess. And yeah, that's what I'm challenged by right now.
Ross, you could have fooled me because I didn't realize that you'd never painted before, and yet their stuff is really nice.
Because I'm not painting it, Stephanie.
No, but the boards, okay, let me rephrase that. The boards that come, like, for example, the palm trees that you added to the painting that I started.
I did paint that, yeah.
That's amazing. I know, it's great.
They are great.
How did I do that? I don't know. Part of it was, this is one of the beauties of our project, that we get to, we're not starting with a blank anything. it's like it's all right there. Bring something out. And so the palm tree picture had these beautiful gray drips, and they were like, Denise, your texture thing. It's like the way they mounted on top of the substrate was like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. The edges were like just rounded, and they weren't juicy, but they were like something. I don't know. They were, ooh, it was so fun. And then it was like, oh, here are the keys to make this work. And so I think it was by going in that way that I was able to just make something work, and also because like I could, like I know how to draw, so I just kind of like did something with the drawing. But I had no idea. That was terrifying. It was terrifying.
But very successful.
Thank you.
Very successful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
you're a very good sketch artist. You're a very good drawer. What do you call that? Drawer, sketch artist.
Draftsman. Something?
Draftsman, right? Draftsman, of course. Yeah.
Well, you'll see in the future. But right now we have a box that Laura's going to open. And where did this come from?
From Australia.
From Australia.
All the way.
Like
Dan under. Dan under.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see this.
And
Now, who's painting?
Yeah,
Okay, so
there's
who's
passport?
who started this one?
I don't know.
I do.
yes.
I do.
But
Who did-
it's a Titan Strong box. It came in a
this is
Titan
the one that
Strong
I
box.
haven't worked on yet. Oh.
You have
It's a.
Oh, you have worked on that one, haven't you?
But I love it. You've done
Oh,
this.
the ladder. Oh,
Definitely.
lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I can't really.
Oh wow.
I
Can you put it a
love
little higher?
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's changed so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
I love it.
Woo!
Is that a hula dancer on the upper right in gold and green?
Well, she was an angel, I think.
You
There's
started
a very fine line
Yeah,
between
hula
hula
dancer
dancer and angel.
Stephanie and Denise.
And
yeah.
then there's all this
The
like the
three.
building and stuff.
Yeah, I remember Cheryl and I talked about this one because I had a very hard time with it when I had it. And then I sent it to Cheryl and she opened it and then she messaged me that she thought it was difficult, that she had a hard time figuring out what to do with it. So we talked it over a bit because we both felt that the angel was sort of stuck in the corner a little bit, and there wasn't really any correlation in the composition between the angel being stuck in the corner and the ladder in the middle. So Cheryl really felt that she needed to add something to bring everything together, as it were.
Right.
Which I think she did very successfully.
Right on.
So what parts did
I tell you what I thought in this first time. I thought about 9/11.
Oh.
I did too?
Yeah,
Wow.
I can see that.
Oh, with
see
the
that.
angel. I just got
Yeah.
goosebumps again.
Sorry?
Sorry, with the angel now. Like that just all that like wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because there are the people here, the building, the smoke and the powder, the angel here. Here there is something that remind me, I don't know why, New York. However, and then there is the dove, like a shadow of the dove here.
A dove?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Sorry.
This inspires my black humor then. I won't go there.
It's
Tell us when we're not.
I'll tell you later. When we get off the air, I'll tell you.
yeah, you cannot see from. It's
Wow.
strange because it's abstract, but at the same time, it's not abstract because it's amazing. It's
I can't see it very well, but to me, it does look like buildings. What started off as a ladder now looks like buildings, like a
Yeah.
right. And actually, the angel to me from here looks almost like kind of flames, but it's only because I don't see the full picture.
It's the reflection of the gold, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love the angel.
Thank you. I didn't know what to do with that, but anyway.
So-
Cheryl didn't
But-
Did you
sign.
sign?
No.
Oh.
So this was me and Stephanie.
And me?
Ross, Stephanie, Denise, and Cheryl.
Yes.
Denise, what did you do on this?
I had like I said, I had a very hard time with it, and I did. It's hard to see now, but there's a layer of light on top, coming from the top of the ladder, going down, and
Oh,
it's
that
a sort of
shaft
yeah,
light?
yes,
Yeah.
and
this is gave me the sense of what I said, because it's like there is like some kind of powder.
yeah, I
You can-
did splatter. Yeah, there's a little bit of splatter there.
Yeah.
Yeah, very very thin in the same direction.
And then so Cheryl did these building perspective things on
Yes.
both sides of the
Yes.
ladder.
Yes.
Who made the golden part?
Cheryl did.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she had. She
Wow.
also had a hard time stopping. She was like, I just put it into a box because otherwise I was going to keep touching it. Well, you know Cheryl, she tends to be exuberant in her painting.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah. So what do you
alright.
feel about this now you see it, Ross? It's been so changed since you created it.
It is really different, and in that it has this like other contexts, like it's been put into another location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this, this whatever the story might have been, how that changes, and it's just kind of fascinating. And I keep thinking like, oh, like I want to go into pieces of it, excuse me, and explore like these little cubbies, like these little
Mhm.
doorways,
Yeah.
and then this little, excuse me, this place on the left with it's like you can, on the bottom left, you can really go through and you see the hallway. Excuse me. It's got so many interesting parts to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the sky.
And the sky.
The sky's peeking through there. It's kind of cool. Very
Mm.
cool.
I like also this part of the building.
Yeah.
I like the color, the texture.
Mm-hmm.
What I also like is that
Yes.
the building on the you have the ladder, and then on the right side of the ladder, the building sort of is almost a reflection of the ladder.
Yeah.
Laura, do you feel like you've got your juices flowing, percolating? You feel like
I just
you got something to work with here, or it's like forget this.
no, every time I don't know. I think I will add some abstract because I was thinking now when I opened while you were talking that it's difficult to add something for me, for myself, because also this painting give me immediately an emotion, so it's difficult to add something. So the only thing that I can think is something that is abstract, but as a meaning for all the also the intention that the other people has written down. So I don't know. Maybe some eggshell. I don't know. I will try.
Exciting.
Exciting. And so on that note, our famous sign off, and so I don't know. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for joining us. International Art Alliance and the Palimpsest Project. I don't know. We'll see you next week.
Bye.